Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Pollock, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Managed ERP Infrastructure, Your Key to a More Profitable Business, presented by John Esslinger from SWK Technologies. Before we get started, let's go over some housekeeping items. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise to a minimum. However, throughout the webinar, you can ask any questions you have. If you'd like to submit a question, look for the questions section or the chat box of your GoToWebinar, and we'll answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this presentation, and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as those who registered but were unable to attend. And finally, we'd appreciate your participation in our closing survey and Q&A session. With that said, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to attend this webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions, help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you with tools, support, software, and industry knowledge whenever you need it. So whether you're here researching a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask all the questions you have. And lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post our recorded webinars. You may be aware that we are also giving away two $25 Amazon gift cards at random to a couple of lucky attendees after the webinar. Gift card winners will be contacted by email within 24 hours. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to John now.
Thank you, Courtney. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Managed ERP Infrastructure, your key to a more profitable business. Again, my name is John Esslinger, and I'm with SWK Technologies Managed Cloud Services Division. Before we jump in to the presentation, I'll take us through a quick review of the agenda. What is Managed ERP Infrastructure? Managed ERP infrastructure versus application hosting. Why businesses are turning to managed ERP infrastructure. How it makes your business more profitable. How it will improve your business. And what makes SWK different. So what is managed ERP infrastructure and what makes it different from application hosting? Managed ERP infrastructure is synonymous with infrastructure as a service. It's basically removing all the messy servers and racks from the closet that's in your facility somewhere and putting it into somebody else's facility, a private secure cloud, where you're allowed to have your physical and virtual servers hosted in a data center. So what is managed ERP infrastructure? It's more than just application hosting. SWK Technologies offers both of these solutions, and different companies turn to each one of them for different reasons. Managed ERP infrastructure is different from application hosting in that it can include other business servers like domain controllers, file and print servers, application servers, database servers, and more. Managed ERP infrastructure plays a larger role in digital transformation than application hosting. So some companies turn to our application hosting as a way to solve a particular business problem. Typically, especially in today's age of a distributed workforce, many companies are finding that their remote workers don't get the same type of performance out of a Sage or other ERP server that's hosted on their premise. Quite often, the people that are in the office get great performance out of an on-premise solution, but people working from home or from mobile locations don't get the same performance. That's a good time to turn to our hosted application services for your ERP. But if your company has already developed a strategy that's more cloud forward and is looking to hosting to play a larger role in your digital transformation, then managed ERP infrastructure is something to look at. If you envision your company at one point or another getting to the point where you have nothing more than workstations and printers on premise, that's a key step in digital transformation, and it makes sense to look at managed ERP infrastructure. Virtual servers are configured based on a number of factors, including their function, software requirements, memory, disk, and storage needs as well. As I said, it can include application hosting, but it can also include domain controllers, file and print servers, database servers, and more. Similar to a hosted application, managed ERP infrastructure offers a fixed monthly fee based on the amount of system resources configured in your servers. So it's not a per user per month model like application hosting is. Again, application hosting is typically for a line of business application where virtual servers are configured to the application specifications for memory, disk, and CPU. Sage hosting is a great example. SWK has great expertise in standing up virtual servers based on the version of your Sage software, the number of users, and your storage needs. And that's typically priced, as I said, on a per user per month fee, which is great for nice predictable IT spending. Managed ERP infrastructure offers you that same predictable monthly spend, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So why businesses turn to managed ERP infrastructure? I'll go through a couple scenarios that may sound familiar to you. The first scenario might be the boss gets an unexpected request to spend a lot of money on new IT infrastructure that he wasn't expecting or had included in this year's budget. A great solution for that is SWK Managed ERP Infrastructure. It allows you to get all the computing power and performance you need without a huge outlay of capital. Another scenario that might sound familiar, unfortunately, has to do with ransomware. If your company gets hit with ransomware, the owners may wonder why they weren't prepared or protected properly against it. Another good reason to turn to SWK Managed ERP Infrastructure. Our data centers were built with cybersecurity in mind from the ground up. All of our data center traffic is scanned for malicious code. Another scenario that might sound familiar is a poorly performing local area network. It impacts productivity from your users, it hurts morale, and it makes management upset. SWK offers scalable modern infrastructure with burstable broadband. And what I mean by that is we have the ability to throttle system resources up or down based on your request, and your monthly billing reflects that. Another scenario includes the paradigm shift to the distributed workforce that I mentioned earlier. Managing access to critical business functions for employees across multiple locations can be challenging. With hosted infrastructure, you get remote access to all the traditional systems you find in an on-premise server configuration, but served up by a secure private cloud accessible to your employees whenever and wherever they have a browser available. And lastly, the scenario of unexpected growth in your business. Quite often it can outpace the infrastructure that you have in place for your network and for your system users. You know you want to increase your infrastructure to keep up with your growth, but you also don't want to overspend on infrastructure if you don't have to. With managed ERP infrastructure, you can essentially future-proof your infrastructure while creating a predictable budget. Hosted IT infrastructure is not only scalable with your business, but it also provides you with state-of-the-art hardware and cyber security protections. You'll always be on the latest and greatest hardware and software solutions available, allowing you to focus on your business instead of worrying about the ever-changing technology landscape. Let's talk a little bit about how managed ERP infrastructure makes your business more profitable. We want to take a look at two perspectives, the case for finance and the case for IT. I've done numerous 5-year total cost of ownership studies for some of our customers. And in one of them that I did recently for a 10-user Sage environment, when we factored in all of the components to a 5-year total cost of ownership, it came up to about $64,500 for a hosted solution. The on-premise total for that same 5-year period was about $65,000. So very close, essentially the same cost. And if you're going to be able to outsource that function for your company for virtually the same price, to me, it's a no-brainer. Why not get rid of all the headaches that come with maintenance and ongoing support of your server environment for 5 years? Moving IT spend from a capital expenditure to an operating expense. This is truly the promise of cloud computing. It really breaks the hardware refresh cycle, puts you on hardware that is always current, and it eliminates the need for large capital expenditures of new infrastructure every 3 to 5 years, allowing you to take that savings and spend it on more important business objectives and goals for the new year. So it truly can have an impact on cash flow. An improved cash flow is one of the promises of cloud computing. Predictable budget. If you put servers in some other clouds, such as Amazon Web Services or Microsoft's Azure, if you've ever experienced those environments, you'd know that your monthly bills tend to vary, sometimes wildly, from month to month. It's truly it's billed as a utility. And for example, someone leaving a VPN connection on when they're not using it can add to your monthly bill. So again, it's not predictable. It can vary from month to month. Maintenance free, as I mentioned earlier. Hosted infrastructure gets you out of the hardware game. It gets you out of the hardware maintenance game as well. Nobody has to spend time every month patching the environment. Nobody has to spend time monitoring your servers day in and day out to make sure that there are no problems with them. It's all on us to do that for you. It's scalable. We talked about growth in your business, which is a wonderful problem to have, but it can be challenging if you don't have the right infrastructure in place. With SWK Technologies, our infrastructure is easily scaled to your new requirements. One of the most important notes that I can make is the fact that SWK Technologies owns all of our equipment in our data centers. Some hosting businesses cannot say the same. They rent space in a data center. The infrastructure is owned by the data center. And then when you have requests for more disk or for more memory or for more CPU for your environment, that request has to get sent up the chain to the ownership of the equipment, and it can take days to get changes made. We have what we call dynamic provisioning at SWK Technologies. Because we own all of our equipment, your request for better performance of your environment goes straight to the people that own the equipment. We can react quickly, and we can allocate system resources to your servers that make a real impact in your business. Secure. As I mentioned, all of our data centers were built with cybersecurity in mind. To start with, we have a security operations center at the front end of our data centers, which monitors all traffic in and out. We're backing up your data 3 times a day, and we have next generation antivirus products on all of our servers. These are a la carte items with most hosting companies. The case for IT is equally as compelling. Efficiency of your IT team. Your in-house IT team can spend time focused on how they can help further your business goals and new objectives through technology, rather than managing and buying the latest hardware for your infrastructure and getting bogged down in that every day. It takes tedious tasks and responsibilities of server maintenance off the hands of your IT department so they can focus on the other areas of the business. So again, hosting is not just for smaller size businesses that don't have IT personnel on staff. The case for hosted ERP infrastructure is equally as compelling for businesses that do have IT on staff. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're securing our infrastructure with top-of-the-line protections. Security Operations Center, multiple backups per day, next generation antivirus products on all of our virtual servers are part of our standard offering. So how does managed ERP infrastructure improve your business? Well, to start with, it makes your business more agile and able to adapt to the future with ease. As I mentioned, we can easily modify your server environment quickly and efficiently. Improved network performance. You're taking a lot of traffic off of your local area network and sending it to our secure private cloud. That's going to result in a better local area network for your system users. Predictable budget. As I mentioned, your bills from us are going to be the same from month to month. Improved cash flow. As I mentioned, this is really the promise of cloud computing that most CFOs are looking for. You don't have to lay out large capital to get the latest and greatest infrastructure and have the latest and greatest infrastructure all the time for your business. Remote access to critical business systems. As I mentioned, with the paradigm shift of work from home and distributed workforce, a lot of companies are turning to hosting to provide better performance and access to the business applications for the people that are working remotely or on the road. Maintenance free. As I said, it really gives you peace of mind. It takes IT out of the equation for uptime of your critical infrastructure. Let us manage all that for you. Cybersecurity. It keeps evolving. The threat environment is getting worse every day. Every day there's another company in the news for the wrong reasons. With our cybersecurity things that we've put in place, it really puts you on a very secure platform. Start down the path of true digital transformation. The more servers you get out of your on-premise location, the closer you are to achieving real digital transformation for your company. And as I said, realizing the promises of cloud computing in improved cash flow. So what makes SWK Technologies hosting different from others? Just kind of a recap of some of the things that I've mentioned throughout today's presentation. Much lower costs than Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure, with no hidden fees. The same bill from month to month, very predictable. We know our customers' ERP environment. You can't go to Amazon Web Services and ask them to stand up a Sage 100 server. They're not going to know what's involved with that. We do it every day, day in and day out. We're very efficient at it. And there's a strong, compelling value proposition here. Many of our customers find it very attractive to have a software partner that understands their IT environment very well and an IT partner that understands their software environment very well. It completely eliminates the finger pointing that goes along with multiple vendor IT environments. which is my next point, single vendor. I hate to use the term one throat to choke, but truly it eliminates the finger pointing of multi-vendor environments. World-class cybersecurity with 24/7 by 365 security monitoring. As I said, both of our data centers are front-ended by a security operations center. We're scanning all of the traffic in and out of our data center, constantly looking for malicious code, viruses, ransomware. In addition, as I said, we're doing backups 3 times a day. You'll have on-site and cloud versions of your data, and we're putting next generation antivirus products on all of your servers. For those of you not familiar with next generation antivirus products, they incorporate artificial intelligence and machine learning that allow them to do a much better job of thwarting attacks and stopping attacks in their tracks. Network supported by a top-ranked managed services provider in the world. SWK Technologies has received numerous awards from the managed services industry over the past 7 or 8 years. Truly world-class environment that your data and your servers are going to reside in. Powerful business continuity. We have a highly redundant architecture for our data centers. We have eliminated virtually all single points of failure, multiple firewalls doing load balancing. So truly a world-class operation with no single points of failure. Strong productivity. I just mentioned load balancing, and we do parallel job processing as well. So truly a great redundant architecture in our data centers. Dynamic provisioning. I mentioned earlier, we own all the equipment in our data centers. When you're experiencing poor performance in your environment, all it takes is a quick phone call or an email to our help desk, and we have the ability to jump in and allocate additional system resources, disk, CPU, and memory to your servers. Again, full business continuity and redundancy throughout our environment. And to top it all off, friendly and courteous support personnel ready and waiting when you need us. I hope you found today's presentation valuable. Just a quick recap. SWK Managed Cloud Services does more than just hosted ERP and application environments. We have a full service managed service provider offering, including cybersecurity, business continuity, and disaster recovery services, consulting and assessments. You can buy all your hardware and software products through us. Managed services, including network support. If you don't have an in-house IT person, or you're not happy with your current outsourced IT partner, let us take a look at your environment. SWK Technologies is truly capable of being your IT department. Managed ERP infrastructure, cloud hosting and migration services. Truly a single shop where you can get all of your IT needs met. That's it. I'll turn it over to Courtney now for questions and answers.
Thank you, John. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and enter them in the questions section of your GoToWebinar. And we're also going to do a quick poll. So we just want to know if you'd like to be contacted with any more information, whether you'd like to learn more about managed ERP infrastructure, learn more about managed cloud services, or you're just here to learn and you want to do your own research. So we'll leave this open for a few more seconds, and thank you to everyone who has responded so far. And in the meantime, you can go ahead and get your questions in. This is a great time to get your questions answered because we do have a subject matter expert here. Okay, we're going to close down the poll. Thank you for everyone who answered. And John, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first question. So our first question is it necessary to move all of our servers to a managed infrastructure environment at once?
Great question. And it is not necessary to move everything at once. As I said, we have customers that are trying to solve a single problem, perhaps better access and better performance of their ERP solution. So sometimes companies just move their ERP product to our secure private cloud. Other customers are moving additional servers. As I mentioned, some people have a real digital transformation roadmap in place, and they're moving more than just their ERP to the cloud. So we can move everything at once. You can do ERP now and other servers as they come up for refresh based on their age.
Okay, that's great to hear that it's flexible. So, and with that, someone asked that, you mentioned scaling up easily earlier. What about downsizing?
That's a piece of cake. As I mentioned earlier, we offer dynamic provisioning because, again, SWK Technologies owns all of our equipment. All it takes is a email or phone call to our help desk, and we can delete system resources. We can remove excess memory, excess disk, or excess CPU. If you've downsized perhaps and don't need what you originally had built out for you, not a problem.
Okay, great to know. And I think those are the only two questions that we had, unless there's a last minute submission. So with that, I'd like to thank you, John, for a great and informative presentation. I know I learned a lot. And I'd also like to thank everyone who submitted a question and answered our poll. And we will send this recording to you tomorrow. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for taking the time to be here, John.
Thank you, Courtney. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Goodbye.